Okay, so honest moment of reflection. I'm sometimes struggle with being a friend. I'm friendly, that comes easy, but I'm not always a good friend, and I want to talk about why. I'm going to use myself as an example within the context of introversion and extroversion because I'm someone who's naturally curious about people and social butterfly, but I also need a lot of me time, which can cause problems when it comes to communication, boundaries, and expectation management. The first thing I want to do is establish an etymological foundation for the conversation we're going to have. We're going to talk about friendship, but I want to use a very old word, fellowship, because it implies a sort of equity. We're all in this together and implies a shared responsibility that we both have something to contribute to the relationship. So if you could, imagine a seesaw where if person A goes up, person B goes down, if person B goes up, person A goes down, and they share in this oscillation. In the center is the fulcrum of their up and downness, and that fulcrum is a relationship. So think of that in your head. So back to me, I'm the kind of person who likes to basically, ride all the rides in the theme park, So I'm like, hey, do you want to ride the seesaw? Because you can't ride a seesaw by yourself. I invite somebody to hop on the seesaw. They fall in love with the seesaw, and then I hop off and get on the swings. The question we have to ask is, what responsibility does the person who initiates the invite have to take care of the person who accepts the invite when both people are equitable and both people are consensually choosing to participate in this relationship, whether it be platonic or romantic? Only one way to answer this question, and the answer that you come up with is not always the same, but the way that you answer it is by communicating your expectations and boundaries. So if you're afraid of heights and I'm inviting you to hop on a seesaw, it's important that you let me know so that I understand that you're handing me a degree of trust. It's easy to talk about ethics when you only talk about what the other person is supposed to do when they're in fellowship with you. But where I get choked up is I oftentimes fail to express my ideal outcome in the scenario when I initiate the invite, which in this case might only be to try out the seesaw and see what happens. This is important because it means that the initiator of an event, the person who gives the invite, has a responsibility to be fully transparent about their expectations of the outcome as well. This is why fathers ask little boys, "What are your intentions with my daughter, young man?" It's about transparency. So if you haven't yet heard what their expectations and boundaries are, or you haven't yet expressed what your expectations and boundaries are, then you need to do more investigating because you haven't yet established that fulcrum of equity that all relationships are based on, and that's trust. I think relationships are based on trust because they establish the safety necessary to explore and share the curiosity and complexities of our identity. But you probably don't need the same degree of trust established to get a cup of coffee with someone as you do to start a business with them or to introduce them to your family. So know your risk tolerance. How I can become a better friend to people is by working on my communication skills to manage expectations better, by saying like, yo, I really want to ride the seesaw with you, but I really want to ride the swing by myself, and a group of us are going to meet up at the slide later. Are you down? Operating like that gives an opportunity for people to make informed decisions, and that way they can say, actually, you know what, I'm looking for someone to ride all the rides with, so I'll pass. But maybe we'll meet up with you guys at the slide. And I think that is all really people want, Recap, okay, friendships are all about trust, and that trust creates a safety that allows us to be open and vulnerable about our expectations, thus giving people enough information to make informed decisions about how to interact with each other, to have safe interactions on all the rides in the playground. The key insight for people that have extroverted tendencies is if you don't do the work of honoring your authentic curiosity for people with developing the skills to communicate your intentions and expectations and boundaries, you're going to be doing people a disservice.